Hola, and welcome back to Voice Memos. In this episode, I want to talk about my mini project I've been working on for the past couple weeks, which is producing a new podcast intro for this podcast. I've been doing this podcast for almost 2 years now, and I'm so ashamed to admit it, but the intro music was AI generated. Bum, bum, bum. And it has actually been eating away at me, haunting me, crushing my soul. Like for probably the last like 5 to 10 episodes that I've uploaded, I'm like, I'm so anti AI now, and my intro music is generated by AI. It's not a good look. So, this episode is going to be dedicated to my journey to become a mini music producer for a 10-second clip. If you are like in any way, shape, or form competent in the arts, maybe this will be a funny episode to you. If you are a creative and somebody that's curious about music production, maybe this will inspire you to get started on your music production journey. And if you're a loyal listener, I hope you like the new podcast intro because this is what we're going to have for maybe the next 2 years. So if any of that sounded interesting to you, stick around and let's get into it. There it is. You just heard the final product. I guess I'm giving you the final chapter in the first page of this book. Uh, if you liked it, hopefully you'll keep listening to how I made it. If not, I'm so sorry. That is the best I could come up with after like 2.5 weeks of trying to make 10 seconds of cohesive sound. So yeah, I learned music production is extremely difficult in this process, and I was extremely humbled. I am a DIYer. You're maybe wondering, why didn't you just outsource this project? There's a million music producers out there. First of all, yeah, like I like to do it myself. And then secondly, I just, I don't know, I have to like try new things and be creative in new ways. So this was like an extreme challenge for me. I don't really have much experience in creating music. I kind of wrote myself off from a young age that I was just like musically inadequate, could not make a note or a beat to save my life. I I never got my like eagle belt um on the recorder. I don't know why black belt was not the highest in my recorder class. It was like black, silver, gold, and then eagle belt, and I didn't get past silver. So I was ashamed for the rest of elementary school. I never got my eagle belt. And then in 8th grade, I tried learning the bass guitar because I loved Rock Band and I loved playing bass guitar on Rock Band. But I just could not wrap my head around like beat or rhythm, which is the only thing there is to playing the bass guitar. And it was stressful. Like I stressed myself out. I wasn't getting creative fulfillment from it. And that's because like a lot of like learning musical instruments is learning to play other people's stuff, which makes sense. Yes, you have to learn from what's out there to start making your own. But I would also say a lot of music programs, that's never the end goal, right? Like choir, orchestra, the goal is not to have you create music. The goal is for you to make music with other people, which is also a very valid way of doing it. But as a creative, like, I just don't think that journey, that path was like exciting to me because I was like, I want to make things myself. So if there had been a music production class that I had taken from an early age, I think I would have stuck with it because I had a lot of fun. It was very rewarding to learn how to put together these building blocks into something cohesive. I just didn't realize like that was an option until recently. So I don't know. It might be the start of something for me. We'll see. I got to get into like the journey and like what the starting point was for me. And the starting point was my shame around my AI clip in my podcast that is more and more anti AI. So, why did I do it? I think like 2 years ago, there was a lot more gray area around AI. And I'm also a technophile. I love to be an early adopter. I love to be on the cutting edge of technology. So I just saw myself as like experimenting with what's out there, and oh my God, I can create a royalty free clip to my specifications in 1 second. Like that was pretty cool 2 years ago. Now, it has created mountains of slop and the environmental impacts, the thievery that goes into creating these libraries for AI to like learn from. So there's so many ethical implications now. We know a lot more about what these models actually are. And if I had started the podcast today, I never would have generated the intro. So just the further and further I got along in this journey of this podcast, I realized, ooh, I really need to switch that clip out. And it was really intimidating to me because I don't know any producer friends in real life. And as this AI problem has become worse, all the online marketplaces where I would kind of think to go for this type of project, like first thing I thought of was like, oh, Fiverr, just pay like somebody 20, 30 bucks. They'll whip something together in an hour, send it over to me, and it'll be good. I only needed 10 seconds of music. So I would have done that maybe like 6 months ago. But now, all those marketplaces, Fiverr, Etsy, even, I mean, even real like craft fairs and vendor fairs are filled with AI slop now, and people posing as creators, just feeding in their prompts to AI and slapping it on whatever they can, or selling it as a digital item in itself. So I didn't trust myself to be able to find somebody on Fiverr and then also verify that they didn't use AI on a 10-second clip, because I just don't think I'd really be able to tell in 10 seconds if a song was created by AI, especially with no like lyrics. So like I decided I had to learn how to do it myself, and it was a journey. Stage one was kind of a fail. I thought I was going to learn how to play the stylophone. And if you don't know what the stylophone is, I have it right here. If you're watching, cute, right? It is a little synth that you can do a lot of effects. I splurged on the fancy one, even though I have no musical experience. This is the sounds it makes. So, like, kind of cool. So, my thought with getting the stylophone was it has a keyboard that you draw on. So maybe as a drawer, as a artist, I would be able to draw the music and it would come more naturally to me. That theory did not pan out. It was extremely hard to learn. And because I got this fancier one, it was kind of hard to map it to like music that had already been published for the stylophone. So it was just overwhelming to try to learn an instrument in just a few weeks. As I told you, I've had a bad track record with learning musical instruments. So I don't know really why I thought I could do the stylophone. I'm gonna keep it. It's fun to play around with, but it just was super hard for me as a noob, a musical noob. So I'm going to play what I came up with for you on the stylophone as my first attempt at the audio clip, a 10-second clip. Honestly, I wanted to just delete it. I don't want to own this clip anymore because it's that embarrassing. But I'm playing it for you, okay? Yeah. So it's a pretty crazy beat. There were a lot of problems with this first attempt. The first thing, I was not using the right tools. I was using Audacity and GarageBand to try to put this together. And that is the GarageBand automatic drummer trying to keep up with me in the background of the stylophone. I also, to record the sound into my computer, I didn't have an audio splitter, which is what I actually needed to be able to hear and record at the same time. So I was recording without being able to hear what I was doing. So a lot of things going wrong with this first attempt. And then, yeah, like editing it on Audacity was just really hard. I think Audacity is great for what it is. Like that's what I made the first couple episodes of this podcast in. I think it's very great for just like splicing audio together, but it definitely was challenging to work with when I'm trying to like layer stuff and move things around. It just wasn't working for me. I also didn't have a metronome, and as I previously mentioned, I have no sense of beat. So, yeah, first attempt, complete fail. But I did not let that get me down. I was determined to keep going. I said to myself, okay, put the stylophone to the side. It's really more of a tool to add to something. It's not really meant to be the main feature. There are, of course, there's examples where you can make the main feature, but typically it's more of a synth. It's layered on top. Let me just make something, and then optionally, maybe I'll layer the stylophone onto it. We'll see. So I started researching DAWs, which are digital audio workstations. I got the free trial of Ableton, which was only 30 days. So I was like, okay, crunch time. Because I guess to like actually rent it on a month-to-month basis is like $30, which is a little steep for a newcomer who probably isn't going to make it her full-time hobby. I mean, I would consider it after this project, like doing a subscription. Like I said, I had a lot of fun, but the 30-day trial was like, okay, I got to finish this within 30 days. And honestly, I wanted to finish it by this podcast episode because, like I said, the clip needed to go. It was long overdue. The AI clip needed to go. I'm not even going to play it in this episode because I don't want to use it anymore. So if you want to hear what the AI clip sounded like, you can go listen to a different episode. But anyway, so I got the Ableton trial and I started learning, like, I watched like a few different YouTube videos. I love YouTube so much. You can learn anything you want on YouTube. This video is a testament to that. I got some like basic music theory hacks. I Googled common chord progressions. And then with each attempt, I watched a video for inspiration. And then I like used whatever techniques they did in that next attempt to make my audio clip. So, and then I learned a couple of things through trial and error too. Like, kind of less is more. On my first couple clips, I was just like putting so many notes in such a small space that it just sounded jumbled. And then as soon as I like spread them out a little bit more, it made way more sense. So in that way, less is more. And then to like ramp up to a beat drop, that means you have to have less before it. So that, again, less is more. So that was a great tidbit that I just got through working on this. And then, yeah, like my scope here was so small. I'm like, I just need 10 seconds, and it's a fade in, ramp up, fade out within those 10 seconds. So it is really not that much that I need to work. And so each of these attempts that I'm going to play for you probably took me 2 to 3 hours or more to make a 10-second clip that sounded anywhere close to decent. So I like to say at this point, I am like 1/100th% of a way there to being an expert producer. So, I mean, if it really is 10,000 hours, I have 7 attempts here that I did in Ableton, 6 attempts in Ableton, and 1 attempt on the stylophone. So 6 times, yeah, like I've easily have like 20 hours probably here of working on this one skill. If we listen to my first attempt here, this is just putting together the basics. How to get a sample pack into Ableton, how to layer a drummer, like some drum kicks, some drum hi-hats, and how to make some chords, how to make a melody, but not necessarily refined any of those skills. So, I feel like that one's already like infinitely better than the first attempt on the stylophone because I'm in the right tool. I can see what I'm doing. There's a metronome and I've like learned more, right? Like progress at the beginning of learning a skill, I feel like it's either so slow or it's exponential. And I think what I was experiencing here was somewhat exponential, where each attempt I felt like was much stronger than the last one. And as I was going through this and like researching and learning, I was really inspired by Natatlie Red. She is a producer on YouTube, and I just love all her videos. She says she makes like girly beats, which that's what I was looking for. And then she also was just so good at like encouraging beginners to just try. Like she often would say like, just finish the beat, just make it. Even if you don't like it, just keep finishing it. Just try and keep trying. So she was very encouraging to me without knowing it. And then she was very good at showing and not telling. She's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then like we'd listen and watch her make the beat. And she'd be like, I'm going to layer this. And so you could see her workflow. So she really helped me like kind of start working on my own workflow. And yeah, like let's see where I got by attempt 2 inside of Ableton. Like there's something there. And that's like what was encouraging me. I was like, each attempt I felt like had something going for it. So I was like, okay, if I can just like start refining these into something, then like I will get something. I don't know. Like I was very encouraged the whole time that I was getting better. But it also felt so hard to just like get that tiny bit of cohesiveness. And some of them are kind of crazy. So okay, this one is attempt 3. So with attempt 3, I was experimenting a little bit more with like adding effects in there, and like there was like a wind chime effect that came with this really awesome Latin drum sample pack. So I put that in there, and I'm trying to get that girly essence, but the first couple attempts here, it probably until attempt 4, which I'm about to play, I felt like I didn't have any control over how it sounded. Like I was putting all the elements and building blocks together, but I didn't really know what would come out the other side. And then once I got to attempt 4, that's when I really thought, okay, like this is kind of sounding like what I wanted to sound like. I have some control. So here's attempt 4. This one to me, like I almost stopped there because I was like, that kind of sounds like the intro to like an NPR show or something. It really, I feel like that one kind of worked. And so I almost stopped there, but I decided I'm going to keep going. I think in my mind, I thought I was going to go until like 10, 10 attempts. I only made it to 7 attempts total, including that stylophone, whatever that was. So I didn't quite make it to 10, but I thought that was good enough for this sprint. It really did happen in like 2 weeks, so it felt like a lot like a sprint. And I mean, the whole stylophone thing, I kind of called that scope creep. I was like, okay, this is just way too much work to learn within the time period that I allocated for this project. So we're just gonna have to de-scope it and to be a little agilist in this project and process. So yeah, attempt 4, I felt really strong about it, but I thought I could keep going. Let's listen to attempt 5. Attempt 5 is where I realized I really should not be in charge of the drums. And that's kind of what got me through the next couple ones here, is realizing like if I can just chop a sample up and use that as the base beat, then I can build on top of that and actually have like somebody that knows what they're doing influence the rest of this project. Because with that attempt that I just played, yeah, something's off with those claps. They're just like not quite right. So that's when I did this little side project detour, which was to experiment with some vocal chops, because the sample pack I got had some of these like vocals in it that obviously like were random. So they weren't going to like be in my final product. But Natalie, who I'd been watching a lot of on YouTube, she really loves doing like chopping up samples, chopping up vocals, and using those in her beats. So I wanted to try it. And I feel like this experiment with the vocal chop plus everything I'd learned before was where I was like, okay, the next one is going to be the one. So here's the vocal chop, which I knew from the beginning could not be the podcast intro. It was just a pure experiment. So yeah, like I kind of really liked it. I think uh it's kind of hard to hear what the vocal is even saying, like when you don't have any effects on it, but I think it's saying te quiero papi. Yeah, I just kind of liked it, and like it felt like it matched that weird little rhythm I had going, which from the beginning was a little too creepy and spooky to be the podcast intro, but all the elements were starting to come together for me. And this takes me back to like another reason now was the right time to make a new intro. Because way back when I started the podcast, I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about on it, but I didn't know like how it would play out. And so all I could do really was have a generic intro, which is what AI creates. It just creates an average generic output. And so now that I've been podcasting for so long, I know what the podcast is about. I have the elevator pitch and I have like an essence of it that I can use to inspire other things about it, like the intro. So I knew I wanted it to be a little technology influence, a little girly, a little artsy, a little like quirky, a little lo-fi, because let's be honest, I love this podcast for like a walk or doing the dishes or like just something to listen to in those in between times. So, we're going to listen to it again. Drum roll. Here is the final product of all of that work. Okay, yeah, I really hope it's listenable because, like I said, I'm such a beginner. But that's what I made. After all of those experiments, that's where I got. If you were listening, you can actually hear it say like voice memos. That's me that I like put a bunch of effects on and chopped. So that was cool to like insert myself literally into the clip. And I feel like it's got that little like girliness to it. I don't really know how else to say it. Like it's just a little bit more whimsical than what I had before, which was loud, over the top, and generic. So I'm happy to have like this lo-fi quirky intro that uses my vocal chop. And then I get the producer credit. It's like at the end of a Taylor Swift music video, it's like music by Taylor Swift, choreography by Taylor Swift, production by Taylor Swift, directed by Taylor Swift. Like that's my vibe on my podcast. It's like I want everything to be made by me because I put a lot of energy into it and I want all the credit selfishly. So I have a lot of respect now for producers. I'm amazed. Like I even like lurked on some Reddit threads, like trying to see if I could get some feedback or something. But all I found was people that are like, hey, this is my first attempt. And it just sounded like amazing. So I was like, okay, clearly these people are like, they're into it. They're really good at what they do. And yeah, I don't know. If you feel like you've been wanting to do something for a while, but you're intimidated, take this as your sign. You can do it. You can. If you put your mind to it, if you put some time to it, you can do it. And I would challenge you, try to like make some decent progress in like a couple weeks like I did. Make it a sprint. Like create some kind of achievable goal for the end of those 2 weeks. And yeah, comment below if you like end up creating something or if you start your producing journey. So I'll leave it there. If you liked the episode, I post bi-weekly-ish and I'm on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you can learn more on my website, angelageorge.com/voice-memos. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.